Happy Friday, Infiniteers, and welcome back to my recreation of Donald Duck's OJ Race. We're going to continue our build for this classic toy box today by adding in all of the terrain for the mountains and the cliffs around the track. And we're going to begin over on this end of the toy box today. And there's a little strip of terrain down here that I forgot to add in last time. So we're going to run these down along the edge of the toy box here, like that. And then we're going to come back over here, and we're going to pick up this corner piece here. Actually, let's pick up this one so we don't risk running into the track there. We'll pick that one up, and then we're going to go over to the right to the canyon outer curve. We're going to drop this in here, and we're going to put this down at the level of the track up there in the upper right corner. Okay, so this is where that has to go, and let me pull up my screen grabs here because I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, and then we're going to slide over to the left and pick up this wide canyon wall. We're going to drop that in here just like that. And then we'll pick this back up and put it down. We'll drop another one over here on this end. Okay. And then we'll just repeat the same thing on the other side. So we're putting a little hole, I guess, a pit in this central area here. This is where we're going to put the little island with the tree on it that grows up around the track. That's what the track is going up and around. So we're going to pick this piece up, put it back. I want to grab this small terrain block and I want to raise this up to the height that you see there, the height of the canyon, and we're going to slide this in so that it is right in the middle of the pit, just like that. All right, then we'll come back over here and pick up this piece, put that back to get back to that part of the drawer, and we're going to come over and select the large cliff pieces. And so that this doesn't look square all the way around it, we'll add some visual interest around this little island. And again, this is what we'll set the tree on. We'll do that in a future episode, though, because I want to focus on terrain today. All right, so there's our little island where that tree will sit that the track goes up and around. Okay, next thing I want to do is we're going to come over here and I want to put down a little spacer block. So we'll come up to basic blocks and we're going to put this right on the end of the terrain just like that. Not too close to the track though. And then what we want to do is go down to the terrain and go left. And I'm looking for a very particular piece here. I don't know how far I have to go to get it. That's the one. All right, so we're going to put this up here against the track like this. And I want to put it out like that. Okay, such that this little spacer block, if you slide this up against it, there's a little half block wide thing that sticks out. So that's how far it sticks out into the terrain. Okay, so a block and a half from the edge of the terrain here and right up against the track. So that's the spacing for that. All right, and then once again, we'll pick this piece up, put it back, and we're looking for that same small terrain block. We're going to bring this over here, raise it up to the level of the track that you see there. And we're going to put down 3 of those. Okay. And then we're going to come back over here and pick this piece up once more. Put it back to get to that part of the drawer, and we're going to drop another one right up here like that. Okay. All right, and then down here along the front of this, so that that doesn't look quite so square, we're going to add a couple of blocks here. We'll put this one in. Tuck that right up into the corner there, just like that. And then we'll use this one on the other side. And we don't need to go all the way down the face of this. They didn't do that in the original toy box, because this is all going to be covered with trees. And the orange grove will kind of hide a lot of that. We just want to put this up here in the part where the player is going to see briefly as they head up the track. Okay, and then up here we're going to pick this piece up, put it back, go up to the next size larger. And we want to come in here and put this up here like this. And we're going to put down a couple of these. We're going to put the last one over here. Yeah. And then in the middle, we'll just kind of add in some of these. And this doesn't quite look right. Why doesn't this look right? Well, let's put that in there. And let's go grab this to get back to that part of the drawer. This ends up coming up over here like this. Oh yeah, this is fine. And we're just going to put a nice edge down along here. And how far does this go? Hold on a second. Can't go all the way down, but we can come down to about this point. Okay. And that's good enough. Again, the trees are going to kind of cover this up when you're looking in this direction from the starting point up there. All right, so this is the nice little starting area here. Now, the next part of this is going to be over this way. And so as we come over here, what I want to do is pick this piece up, put it back, and we're going to come over and drop a second one over here. And then once again, let's come over this way, get back to this part of the drawer. And what I want is this piece. And this needs to sit on here over this way. And let me get my screen grab up here because the placement of this is really important. Okay. Got to come over this direction. And I think it's going to sit right here up against the edge of the terrain there on the right. We're going to drop this down. And then what I want to do is come over here and place that right there like that. And what you see is that the top edge of this overlaps that track, or is under that track by about half a block. So that's the placement that you see. Okay, hopefully you can see how the seams of the racetrack line up with that terrain seam edge. Okay, and then let's come down here and pick this piece back up. Put that back. And what I want to grab is this small terrain block, and we're going to drop 2 of these in here. Like that. Followed by the really large one. Let's see, we'll put that in there like that. And then we'll pick that piece back up, put it back. We're going to put down the large canyon wall, and that should come right to the edge of the terrain down below. And it does, which is good. And then the next size smaller, we'll go over here. Followed by the small canyon curve, because we want to put some terrain underneath this this ramp here. So we'll put that there. We'll put this out on the edge of that. And we'll drop down another one of these large pieces up here like that. Right, and then we'll pick this piece back up, put it back, get to that part of the drawer, go to the next size smaller, and we want to put this up against that terrain seam back there and up against the wall over here. And then we got a hole we got to plug here. So we'll do that. Okay, there we go. So now we have some terrain to support this turn. Okay, and then what I want you to notice is the terrain seam here and the racetrack seam. These two things line up right there, which kind of tells us that we're in the right spot. That's also going to help us place the next piece of terrain, which is this one, which is going to sit right up against that track, right down here, and right on that terrain seam there. Okay. Hopefully that gives you a good look at that. We're going to put 2 of those down. And then we'll go to the next size smaller. We're going to come over here to the other side of the track, and we're going to drop 3 of these down like that. That's creating the little canyon that we're going to drive up. You'll notice there's a little gap there down in that terrain seam. That's okay. We're going to cover that up, and same with that one. All right, before we do that though, let's put down the little barrier along here that's going to help the player stay on the track. And you find that in the racetrack pieces down over here. So this is going to sit right here like that, with this one right next to it like that. Okay. All right. And good. Now let's pick this piece back up. We're going to place this here like this, followed by this, like that. And then we want the really big, the large canyon outer curve this is going to sit in here just like that. Followed by this really long one, which will sit in there like this. And a couple of small guys. Followed by this little short turn. And you'll notice it doesn't line up directly with the edge of the terrain there. It's a half a block hanging off the edge of that. That's okay. That's why we didn't put the terrain down underneath that yet, because what we're going to do, we're going to take this piece, pick that up, put it back, slide over here, and just bring it forward a half a nudge like that. And then we'll grab this piece, pick it up, put it back, put that right up here along the front of that. So that actually sticks out a little bit past the edge of this one. But that's okay. The player's going to be going by there so fast and looking up here. I don't think they're going to notice that or think anything of it. Okay. And so there we go. There's the turn there. And then we'll pick this piece up, put it back. We'll come up here. And we're going to put another one up here like this. And let me just double check the placement of that. Yes, just like that. With the small one this time on that side. And another large canyon curve on the end of that. Okay. And then on this side, come back over to the flat pieces. We'll put a couple of these down, followed by the large one. You'll notice that takes us right to the edge of the racetrack seam right here. And that's what we want. All right, let's pick that piece up, put it back. To get back to that part of the drawer, we're going to drop another one down on this end, like so. We'll drop another piece here, and again, notice on the left it lines up with the corner, or the edge of that ramp. And we'll put one of these over here, like so. Okay, so there's the pass going up into the mountains. Then we'll come over to the canyon turns, and the one we want is again the large outer canyon. Sorry, I had to find my screen grab to make sure I got the right one. And you'll notice as I drop it in place, it follows the curve of the racetrack. So that's good. And then on the opposite side, we'll place this. That follows the inside curve of the racetrack, like so. We'll put one of these on either side, like that. And now we're ready for the next part of the climb. Okay, let's go up to the basic blocks. We're going to put a little spacer block in here, up on the top of that. And then go back down to the terrain, and I want to pick up this piece here. So we got to get back to that part of the drawer. We're going to go to the right to this really tall, narrow terrain block. And what I like about this is there's no seams along the whole edge of that. And we're going to raise this up to the height of that spacer block, bring this right over here up against the racetrack, just like that. And so as the racer's going along there, there's no terrain seam there at all to distract them. And I like that. All right, and then we'll come to the end of this, and we're going to put up a couple of more spacer blocks because the next one of those has to go a little bit higher. We're going to put down 2 of those. We'll come in here and drop down the next one of these up against the racetrack at the height of those 2 spacer blocks, just like that. And you'll notice that fits in there perfectly. Okay. And then we'll take those out. So there's the back wall along the track, which looks really good. And just so that doesn't look so flat, we're going to add some mountains across the top of that. So let's see. How do we want to get over there? Let's go pick up this piece here. That gets us close to that part of the drawer. And we're going to go left. And I'm looking for this mountain with a tunnel, actually. We're going to come over here and drop this right on the edge of this piece of terrain. And we'll do it like that. Okay. So the bottom corner of that sits right on the corner of that terrain. So you've got that. That just adds a nice decorative peak up at the top of that so it doesn't look so flat, which I think is really good. And to save memory, we'll put another one of those down, but we'll rotate this one. And so we'll do is spin this around like that. And this one will hang over the edge of the, well, it doesn't have to hang over the edge. We'll back it up a little bit. Put that in there like so. If we go over to the right, we find this mountain corner slope. We'll put a couple of those in like that. And then on the end of this, let's see, which way is that? Here we go. The small mountain peak. We'll put this up here. A couple of those like that. And so as you're driving along down here, you've got a little bit of stuff up there. And when you're out over on this part of the track, it doesn't look so flat up there. So that's really helpful. All right, on this side of the track, let me find my screen grab here. What I want to do here is we'll go up and grab our basic block again. We're going to put down a couple of spacer blocks. So right on the corner of that piece, we're going to put down 2 of those. Okay. And then we'll go grab this piece under here, pick that up and put it back. We're going to drop this right over here, right up against the racetrack, right up against that, that corner at the height of the bottom edge of those 2 blocks. So right there like that. That's where you want that. And then we can take out our spacer blocks. We'll pick this back up, put it back without moving it, drop a second one down, go to the next size larger. And we'll drop that in there just like that. And you'll notice our terrain here wraps right around that, which is good. Okay, let's go pick this mountain thing up again and put that down. And we're going to select the mountain with cave. And it's actually not that one, that mountain cave. And for this, let's see, how did they put this in here? They put it in like that. So that's going to sit right on the edge of that block down there, directly on top of it, as you see. And then we'll scroll over to the right, and we'll pick up this short cave block. We'll put this right on the next block over, right up against the edge of the terrain, like you see there. And then on top of that block, the piece we want to put over there is right near this one over here. So we'll come back over here, we'll pick up that block, and that's the one we want. Now, again, if you don't like these blocks, you're welcome to change this to anything you want. I built this to match what the developers had in their original toy box, so this is what I put in. All right, so now you come around this turn, you go up. This is what you see as you go along up through here. Okay, and then you come over here, and we have a peak that sits in the middle of this that you drive around. And for this, what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here and pick this piece up, put it back, drop a second one down here, like so. And then I want to come over to the basic blocks. We're going to put a couple of spacers up here, like that. Go down to the terrain, grab our large terrain block, that's going to sit right in there just like that. Okay, so you see how that fits the spacers. And then we can take those two spacers out. And then we're going to put a couple more spacers in here. These blocks won't stay, but we're going to put one here like this. We're going to come over here, put that on the end, bring it all the way up to the top, and go over to the right one nudge. So a half a block wide gap between them. That goes there. And so the next piece we put down then is going to be, let's see, easiest way to get there. We'll pick this piece back up, put it back. We go over to the right. And this is the piece that we want. That is going to sit right in here like that. And we're going to put 4 of those down. If you want, you can spin them around a little bit so it doesn't look quite so repetitive along the sides. And there's the base for the mountain that's going to be at the top. And yes, that is how they built it in the original toy box. So we want to make sure we copy that. All right, and then we're going to pick this piece up. It's the mountain corner slope. And then we're just going to start building layers of mountain on top of this thing. So we'll put one on each of the 4 corners. And we put the rest of the base in. Just like this. Okay, and then we grab this, and we go up to the next layer. That's going to sit up there like that. And we just keep building up till we get to the top. Okay, and then we pick up that. And we go up to the next layer. Now this one, you'll notice on the right there, it sits off over that gap. So we got to put this out over here, which means it's going to hang off the edge of the terrain there just a little bit. But that can't really be helped. And the player's not going to notice that as they're racing along here. So I'm not too worried about that. And then we'll pick this piece up, put it back, bring this over, and we'll use this to crown the top of it. And the way we're going to put this up here is like that. Kind of make sure it's on the actual top of the mountain. And there we go. So now we come around this track. We got a mountain that we're driving up and around. And there we go. Okay, and that is mostly it for the terrain. Go ahead and take our spacer blocks out over here. We'll put in a couple little extra things, and then we'll be done. Now, one of the things I had noticed the developers did was, in order to hide the edge of the world here and this gap in the terrain, they had put some pieces in along here. And what they put in was basically this thing right here. So I'm going to pick that up, put it back without moving it, and we'll come over here to the edge of the world, drop this down, and this goes right up against the corner of the terrain like that. This next piece is going to sit about like that and back a little bit. So it's going to hang off the edge of the world. That's okay. Don't worry about it. The next piece, about a half a gap there. That will sit there about like that. And then the last one's going to sit over here about like this, such that if you placed a block there, it's a half a block this direction past that terrain seam on the left. Same thing here. The back side of that terrain seam on the right, half a block that way. And that's where we place that. And there's nothing there because the juice carton is going to sit right in here. But that just gives a nice little edge to the terrain back there, which is especially important for when you come around the curve over here. You don't want to see a huge gap there with nothing. That kind of hides that ugliness a little bit when you come across through here. And that's good. And that is it for most of the terrain. Next time we will build the huge orange juice carton in the middle of the toy box. I think you'll enjoy that, so be sure to come back next time, or better yet, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next episode when it airs. I would also appreciate it if you would hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of this build so far. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend.